Hello, I'm Dr. Cason McInturff with Berry Farms Animal Hospital, here to talk to you today about boarding your dog.
Dr. Cason, what should I consider when boarding my dog?
Good question. So I think the most important thing to consider are what are your needs as an individual, and especially what are your dog's needs. Some of our dogs may need some assistance with chronic health issues or things like that. Other dogs may be young, full of energy, and socialization is very important, them being in a setting where they can be around other dogs. Oftentimes our dogs do form a very close bond with you as an individual, and so it can be stressful when you need to leave town or board your animal for whatever reason. So I think about looking at your dog's needs specifically is the best thing to do to help you make the wisest decision for your pet in the type of boarding.
What are the different types of dog boarding options?
So there's many different types of dog boarding options. The first one would be simply a pet sitter coming to your home to either stay in your home and take care of your pet or come check on your pet. Other options would be, of course, boarding at a boarding facility where they may have situations where your dog can interact or play with other dogs. Are dogs that may be more prone to the stress of not being with you if you're out of town may be best served in an environment where they're getting extra special attention from individuals. So being at a boarding facility or veterinary hospital where they're getting some attention from people and they still have that human-animal bond. There are, of course, veterinary hospitals that board as well. Here at Berry Farms, we do take care of our customers' animals when you're out of town or when you need that. Oftentimes there's medical concerns for that, or of course we know your dog well, and being able to build off that relationship, knowing your pet and them being in a familiar environment is always a good thing. But it's important to weigh, again, your dog's specific characteristics or behavior. For example, you may not want to leave your dog at home alone if you're going out of town, have the pet sitter come a few days or a few times a day if they like to eat socks and blankets and things like that. So there's different risks or characteristics that you need to weigh when making your decision.
Will my dog get active in social time while boarding?
So yes, depending on the type boarding facility, there are different ways for your dog to get social time, and that's social time with other dogs or social time with individuals. Of course, your dogs are going to get adequate exercise because that's a very important thing. At Berry Farms Animal Hospital, we're able to serve that by taking our dogs on walks around the neighborhood, allowing them to get active. Some dogs may not actually like other dogs or get nervous in unfamiliar environments, so it may not be best for them to have the opportunity to play with other dogs that may be boarding. So again, it's important to judge the specific situation, but of course your dogs will get plenty of exercise at Berry Farms Animal Hospital.
What questions should I ask at the dog boarding facility or kennel?
This is a good question because there's several things that you'd want to ask. I think one of the important things is, well, how much supervision will there be? If our dogs are in an open environment to play with other pets, it's important that they have supervision during that time period, making sure everyone's getting along and playing appropriately. There are some places that provide overnight supervision and care for your dogs where someone is present. That's not always the case. I think beforehand it's important to know what the vaccine requirements are for a given any given boarding facility, because they may vary, and it's important for us to prevent the spread of illness or infection by making sure our vaccinations are current. When our dogs are in close quarters together, it's easy for bad things to spread around. So you want to make sure that your dog is current on whatever the boarding facility may require in terms of vaccination. Of course, you want to make sure too that you know if they're going to be getting food or not, and what things you need to bring for their boarding stay.
Is there anything else I need to know about boarding at a vet's office?
Yeah, so, boarding at a veterinary hospital, I think it is a very wonderful thing. Of course, you've got the eyes of the veterinarian present if your dog were to need any medical care. We do see many older dogs that need frequent medications given that we're able to serve at the veterinary hospital, or dogs that have some chronic health condition. We're able to keep eyes and care for them, making sure they get their medications while you're out of town. There are situations where I think boarding at a veterinary hospital may be the best thing for your pet. And again, I think it's great too that your veterinarian probably already has a relationship with your dog and are familiar with them, all their medical records, and if anything were to come up that might be needed.
Is there anything I need to know about boarding at a pet hotel or resort?
Yeah, so many of our pet resorts or pet hotels, they have more a la carte type options where you can get extended playtime or even nature walks with your dog. I think it is important to know the type of play that they may be getting while they're there. Is it with other dogs? Does that best fit your dog's personality? These are the things that I think are important to ask, along with, of course, the vaccination requirements as well.
What do dog boarding facilities need to know about my dog?
So it's very important to make sure, of course, if there's any medical or health concerns that your dog may have. It's good to let them know, of course, if there's any medications that your dog may be taking, or vitamins, supplements, probiotics. It's important to let them know about that. If your dog doesn't like situations, it's very important to share as well. If they don't do well playing with other pets, if they like to chew up their blanket or play with their toy a little too aggressively, it's good to let our boarding facilities know that as well, so that our dogs don't, eat something that they shouldn't. Dietary concerns are also very important to share. Does your dog have any sensitivity to foods or any particular foods? If you don't want them having any treats at the boarding facility or just your specific treats, those will be things that are important to share as well.
What should I bring and how should I prepare when boarding my dog?
Good question. So I think the most important thing to bring would be, of course, any medications your dog may be taking. The other thing would be your dog's food. I think it's best that while you're out of town or doing whatever, while your dog's boarded, that they have their food to eat. We see that sometimes changing up what our dogs are eating, it can upset their stomach. And if they're already a little stressed, maybe being in an unfamiliar environment or being away from you at home, then that can certainly trigger a little gastrointestinal upset, which we don't want to cause. So I think food is very important. One thing that you can do that makes things really easy is maybe just pre-package your dog's food. Get some little Ziploc baggies. If your dog eats a half cup of their food in the morning and evening, then go ahead and pre-package those. That way you can make sure they're getting fed appropriately, that they're eating all their food. Any anti-stress toys or anything that your dog may specifically like, I think is also very important to help make them as comfortable as they can be on their stay. So if you have any questions about boarding specifically, please feel free to give us a call at Berry Farms Animal Hospital. Thank you.